All right, welcome back. Today, we're digging into a brand new development in a story that's, well, really, really old. For almost 80 years, just the word Roswell has meant one thing: UFOs, government cover ups, and that massive question: are we actually alone out here? Well, guess what? A strange piece of archival footage just got dropped, and it's throwing a whole lot of fuel on that fire.
Okay, so let's really dive into this. And just to be clear, we're not talking about another grainy, old photos someone found in their attic. This is something different. It's like a brand new piece of the puzzle has just been put on the table, adding this whole new layer of mystery to one of America's greatest legends. And that new clue? It's a 22-minute video. Yeah, a compilation that was just kind of quietly uploaded to the US National Archives. No big fanfare, but you better believe its contents have sent some major shockwaves through the communities that have been obsessed with this mystery for decades. So, Section 1, a new Roswell revelation. Look, to really get why this video is such a big deal, we've got to take a quick step back and look at the whole history of the Roswell incident itself. So, the story kicks off way back in 1947, right? That's the original incident. Then, you jump forward to 1996, and the government drops its official report, basically trying to say, case closed, nothing to see here. But now we have this archive video from 2025. It's this totally unexpected new chapter, dropping almost 80 years after the whole thing began. Okay, Section 2, inside the 22-minute video. So the big question is, what are we actually seeing in these 22 minutes? Let's break down what the footage contains. Right off the bat, you can tell this is a really deliberate mix of stuff. You've got still photos, you've got motion shots. We see what looks like a crash site, a shallow crater, metallic junk scattered everywhere. But, and this is a big but, it's all cut together with these super rapid edits and even images layered on top of each other. So it's almost impossible to get a really clear look at anything. And then you have these weird, ambiguous shadows and shapes that, you guessed it, some people are saying look like non-human forms. All of this is happening while a voiceover is quoting from that official 1996 government report. It's a lot. But here's the thing, and this is probably the most important takeaway. There is no smoking gun in this video. Zero. There's no crystal clear shot of an alien waving at the camera. No perfectly intact spaceship. The whole thing feels more like, well, the French call it mise en scène. It's about setting a scene, creating a mood, an atmosphere of mystery. It's not giving you a straight answer. And honestly, that ambiguity is exactly what makes this whole thing so compelling. Okay, Section 3, the believer's perspective. So how does a believer see all this ambiguity? For people who are convinced something extraordinary happened at Roswell, this footage isn't just a bunch of random clips. To them, it's not noise, it's a signal. From that point of view, this video is anything but random. It's seen as a potential first step toward real government transparency. Or, maybe it's a controlled drip of classified information, just to see how the public reacts. It totally breathes new life into those old witness claims from decades ago. And hey, it even opens up the possibility of using modern science to reanalyze the debris we're seeing in these images. And this quote really says it all. It's another tantalizing clue that the government is slowly peeling back secrets long hidden. I mean, that really captures the excitement, right? For enthusiasts, the simple fact that this video was even released is a huge deal. It feels like another piece of the puzzle that the government is finally, maybe, letting us see. All right, Section 4, the skeptic's counterpoint. But as you can imagine, there is a completely different way to look at all this. One that requires us to put on our critical thinking caps and bring a serious dose of skepticism to the table. And this is where the road just completely forks. I mean, it's a perfect example of how two people can look at the exact same thing and see something totally different. The believer, they see fragments of metal that are beyond human technology. The skeptic, they see some old, weathered, totally normal junk. One person sees the shadow of a non-human form, the other just sees a trick of the light and grainy film. We're looking at the exact same footage but drawing completely opposite conclusions. Skeptics will immediately point to a really powerful psychological phenomenon called pareidolia. You know this one. It's the reason we see faces in clouds, or the man in the moon, or a figure in a random pattern of shadows. And they argue that's exactly what's happening here. Those alien bodies people are seeing, it's just our brains doing what they do best, trying to find a meaningful pattern in a bunch of random, greeny visual noise. So the big takeaway from the skeptical side is caution. We have to be careful here, for a few key reasons. First, Just because something lands in the National Archives doesn't automatically mean it's scientifically validated. Second, old film degrades, digital compression creates weird artifacts. Both can make things look like something they're not. And maybe most important of all, we have absolutely no idea who edited this footage or why. There's no clear chain of custody. And without that, you really can't verify if it's authentic at all.
Which brings us to our final section, beyond belief and doubt. Because at the end of the day, this video doesn't give us a neat and tidy answer. Instead, it leaves us with some much bigger questions. And they're not just about aliens. They're about how we, as humans, process information and build stories in this crazy modern world.
I mean, it really forces us to think about the incredible power that official institutions have, right? Whether this video release was an intentional leak or a total accident, it doesn't matter. The effect is the same. It is actively shaping how the public thinks and feels about this whole historical event. And you also have to consider how a story like this just explodes. How does the media cover it? How do insiders or potential whistleblowers add their own spin to the story? It's this incredibly complex ecosystem where information just spreads like wildfire, changing and evolving as it goes.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most fundamental question this 22-minute video forces us to ask. In an age of deepfakes, digital manipulation, and carefully curated information, what does it actually take to prove something? What is the difference between a really fascinating clue and cold, hard, verifiable evidence? This footage, it doesn't solve the Roswell mystery, not by a long shot. But what it does perfectly is frame the single biggest challenge we all face. How do you find the truth in the 21st century?